The Six of Discs is called Success, and this card is a little bit like a lesson in how to actually achieve success in your manifested world, and of course after you've got it, it will spill forth into the world at large. And this is what we see on the Rider-Waite version of the card, where there appears to be some type of charity, a giving out of wealth to these people, and the character holds in his hands the most important symbol here, of which of course is the scales, representing balance. And on the Tree of Life we can see balance in that we are in Tifereth, and so it's the centre of the tree. All the other paths and Sephiroth, all their energies pass through Tifereth at its centre. And so what does this look like in the actual manifested world? Because it's in that world of Isaiah manifestation. What does Tifereth look like when we've actually manifested it? Well, it's all about coming into a balance of all of the different things around us in the world, and basically allowing them to flow and allowing them to be. And it's like we've seen before, where we are looking for that Goldilocks element in our life. We don't want our life to be too hot or too cold. You know, we want everything to be just right. And it's when we understand all these elements and allow them to flow that we actually start to allow things to be just right, so to speak. And we see that as well astrologically. It's the moon in Taurus, and so with Taurus of course we're going to see that going forth towards the pleasures of life and the craving of the comfort that one may get from having a lovely home and all the things around us that we enjoy to have, like we've seen in these cards so far. And the moon is exalted in Taurus, so it's showing that this is a good thing and that we're really moving on with this very well. We've come into that understanding of how these things are and we've got them in balance. But there is actually a bit of a warning to this as well, in that the moon of course is very temporary in its state. It goes through cycles, and so it doesn't stay solid and firm for very long before moving on. And so this can show that once we have achieved this success, it may or may not be only short-lived. And this of course is to do with what we do with it once it has actually arrived. Now the card itself shows at its centre the esoteric symbol of the rosy cross, and in fact the card in general represents something of a sacred space which is found in the Adeptus Minor ritual of the Golden Dawn, of which places a strong emphasis on the rosy cross. Now this rosy cross is a deeply multifaceted symbol. It has many meanings. Some may suggest to you that it means the physical body being the cross, and the rose our spirit, our consciousness. And it can also be a symbol again of unity. For example, the union of our physical mortal state with our higher consciousness, our higher spiritual state, as well as the basic masculine and feminine unities and things that we've seen before. And of course that Adeptus Minor ritual and all this ceremonial magic, the great work, so to speak, is all about actually understanding these things and allowing that rose to bloom. And that unfolding of that rose is the unfolding of our consciousness into a higher awakening, if you will, or a higher understanding of our place in the universe. The rosy cross on the actual card is a red cross and a blue rose. And so this is Geberah, the red cross, and Chesed, the blue rose. And this is rather important because Geberah and Chesed work together. They create a balance. And it's a principle known as the left arm repels and the right arm draws near. And so what this represents is that it's drawing others near to us of which are beneficial to us, while at the same time repelling that of which would not be beneficial to us, or those things of which aren't in tune with ourselves. And so it's a wonderful channel of harmony into our actual lives. We also see on the card these diagonal rays, and these really bring all these symbols together actually, because this represents the letter INRI or INRI, of which we might have seen on crucifixes. And this is Latin and can be translated as Jesus the Nazarene, King of the Jews. Now, we can actually look at this in quite a religious way if we want to, but we could also look at it with all of the symbols of which we've got so far. And so if we were to look at the crucifixion, it could represent something of what we've just been saying, in that the crucifix itself, the cross, is made of wood and would rot and is temporary, and placed on top of it is a symbol of eternal life, a God upon a cross promising us that we would live together if we come to him, or we come to understand what this means. And so it's like what we saw with the Rosy Cross, the physical body, and superimposed over it the eternal spirit, the essence of God. Let's go even further and superimpose an image of the crucifixion over the Tree of Life. Christ's feet in Malkuth, suggesting of course that he's manifested in the kingdom, and we will see if we do that his arms and his hands are in Gebarah and Chesed, which is what we've just seen with that symbol of the repelling and drawing near, and is also the colours of the Rosy Cross on the card, the red and the blue. Most wonderfully, however, with this pattern, his heart would be in the space of Tifereth, which is what we are seeing throughout this card, and so that would be the Sacred Heart of Jesus in the middle of all of these energies. And the Sacred Heart and the Litany of the Sacred Heart is one of the most common devotions in the Catholic Church, and in that prayer we learn that the heart of Jesus contains within it all of the treasures of wisdom and knowledge, just as Tifereth contains within it all of the different Sephiroth of which pass through it, all of the paths coming in to Sephiroth. So it's all the treasures of wisdom and knowledge. We also learn that within the heart of Jesus dwells the fullness of divinity. And so again, it's showing that everything is contained within that centre, and it unfolds into that awakening and that wonder. It gets even stranger in that this INRI symbol is also associated with the Philosopher's Stone. Now, the Philosopher's Stone is a mythological symbol of alchemy. It's the elixir of life. Some have believed that it is an undiscovered element. Others have believed it could be created through the synthesis of elements. And it could do things like turn base metals into gold, which is a metaphor for enlightenment, and that it could bestow all manners of wonders upon us. Now, the Philosopher's Stone, in this way, could be the elements, or the elements of things like salt and sulphur, mercury, and the mysterious element of Azoth, of which was said to actually create this Philosopher's Stone. And yet if we just look at them as the four elements and superimpose them again onto the cross, well, that's the physical world of the elements, and on the top of it is the divinity which unfolds. And so we've actually created a symbol of the spiritual truth of our being. And of course, this card itself shows us how to turn that into the microcosm. So it's how to create our own little Philosopher's Stone that enables us to have success in our lives and in our manifestations. And so all of the discs here are planetary symbols, of which are arranged in the space that they would be associated with their Sephiroth on the Tree of Life. And of course they form a complete equilibrium. We have an as above and a so below, and so they are a harmony, and to put all of these things together into harmony will result in the manifestation of success. And so we have Saturn. Now this is a more positive element of Saturn. This shows that use of the physical world, that understanding of the way that the universe works through laws and rules, for example. These laws and rules are completely precise. And so we combine that with Jupiter, which is the expansion. We are open to, create new experiences, to explore new things and bring all of the things back into our lives, which will enable us to continually expand, therefore actually mimicking the passage of the universe itself. And we join this up with Venus, showing that we go through love the things that we bring into our life, we know to be beautiful, so to speak, and we enjoy them not just because they are there, but because there's something in them that we love. And so it's asking us to follow our heart with our expansion. We're not just expanding for no reason, we're following our heart, and in Thelemic terms it could even be a little bit further, and following the true will. We're going to get this by looking at Mercury, which is showing our good communication, our fluidity of being able to deal with all different types of people and even different problems that occur, and that could be with ourselves or in the world at large with other people of whom come into our life and come back out of it again when the times are right. The moon comes into this as well, showing of course our instinct with these things, and that we really should follow our heart. We follow what we feel is right and what we know to be right for us, because really nobody else knows what's right for us. You could read a million different books promising you all manner of success, but if it's success in the eyes of one of whom views success very differently to you, for example, you're not really going to be happy because you wanted something different. So you follow your instinct, you follow your own heart, and therefore you get back onto that path of your own true will. And we also have Mars, which we've seen all throughout these cards is that burning passion to actually get the things done. So it's about putting the energy in and to get them to manifest. And we're not just throwing energy around for no reason, it's channeled into exactly what we know to be right and what we know we want to manifest. And of course when they all come together, we have, as Crowley says in the Book of Thoth, a full harmonious establishment with the energy of the element. And so that's what this card is all about. It's a really good one to draw in your readings, and it often shows up in times of actual wealth and physical success and actually getting what you want. And we hold on to what we want, but remember, the phases of the moon are prone to change and it can be temporary. And so once we actually get what we want, we hold on to it, and we have to know what to do with it in order to figure out where to go next.